Welcome to the stream. Hopefully my microphone is cooperating today. Had a stream yesterday as well. The microphone kept bugging, so hopefully it will work better this evening. Only 1 hour and 34 minutes until the deadline. I've not made any changes to my team. Still on a no Salah, no Holland draft, with Jared Bowen as my captain. First team out on tonight's stream, FPL even odds. Let me know if you're in the chat. Sanchez in goal, Diouf, Mario, Pedro Porro. This looks really similar to what we usually have seen when we rated drafts like this. Covering the Nottingham Forest defense really good. Spurs, they are actually the team with the best clean sheet odds according to bookies for game week 1. And I like Diouf as well. In midfield, Saka, Wirtz, Palmer. Gakpo is in as well. Bruno Fernandes, Watkins captain, and Joao Pedro up front. Really strong team in my opinion. Konsa 4.5, one of the best 4.5 defenders. Dorgu and Mark Guehi. I really like this team. I'm not sure about Dorgu and Mark Guehi. The thing with Dorgu is that we had this discussion yesterday as well. I'm not really sure if he is 100% nail. Will he play week in, week out? I know that he had a couple of really good games this preseason, but will Patrick Dorgu play week in, week out for Man United? I'm not really sure, so I think that it's safer going for another 4.5 option. Mark Guehi, he might become the starting number 9 for Sunderland. I think that there is a bit of a risk involved picking Mark Guehi. He's highly owned at the moment, so I think that if he's benched in the first couple of game weeks, or if he blanks, even if he starts and blanks, I think that he will drop to 4.4 really soon. Virat Kohli, hi, thanks for joining in. Ait Nouri or Gabriel, it kind of depends on, do you have any other Arsenal or Man City assets? I think that the 6.0 defenders are really good. The thing with Ait Nouri is that basically most of the Man City players is that we have to expect some rotation. So 6 million defender that it's not nailed on. So you have Saka, Gabriel. Of course, Gabriel, he is the safest option. Definitely, he will start every game, and he is a big threat at set pieces. Ait Nouri, big attacking threat as well. We saw this last season when he played for Wolves. No, I think that if you have no Man City, I think that I would go for Ait Nouri, even though, as mentioned, there is a slight risk involved going for a Man City player. Should I take Pedro Porro? I really like Pedro Porro, to be honest. Yesterday, I actually looked at some options to bring in Pedro Porro myself, but I think I'm just leaning towards keeping Van de Ven, but I think this team is really strong, to be honest, covering the most selected defenses. Sanchez in goal, Diouf, really good option. Murillo from Nottingham Forest, and you have Pedro Porro. I actually really like him, so I would just stick with Pedro Porro, to be honest. Bruno Fernandes, proven FPL asset. You have Gakpo. I like him as well. I think that he is a bit underrated, to be honest. Luis Diaz, he is gone. And Gakpo, he was actually priced before Luis Diaz left Liverpool, so he is probably a bit underpriced. So I really like Gakpo. I can't really fit him into my team at the moment, but I think that he is a really good option. Double up with Wirtz, you have Cole Palmer, the most selected player, and Saka. What I like about Saka is that he is potentially still on penalties for Arsenal, and they have a really good game in game week 2 against Leeds. So Saka is in my team as well, and Watkins, best forward in my opinion. I'm not really convinced by Joao Pedro. I can actually see him play 60, 70 minutes. They have the lap in as well, so he will get minutes. They signed the lap this summer, so can't really see him rot on the bench. He will get opportunities and maybe some starts as well. So I think Joao Pedro is first choice, but there will be rotation up front for Chelsea. My team is on the screen at the moment. I've gone for Sells in goal. I have no other Nottingham Forest defender, so I think that I just have to cover the Nottingham Forest defense. There are a lot of managers doubling up, so I need to at least have one defensive asset from Nottingham Forest. So Sells will be my goalkeeper. I have Virgil van Dijk, I have Diouf, and I have Van de Ven. In midfield, Saka, Marmoush to cover Man City, Cole Palmer, and Wirtz. So similar to your team. And I have Jared Bowen, Watkins, and Mateta up front. I really like Jared Bowen. Of course, captaining Jared Bowen for game week 1, of course, that's a punt. But hopefully this team can do well. The plan is to bench boost in game week 2. So I have Estev and have Dubravka. They have a really good fixture in game week 2 against Sunderland at home. So John Arias, he is in for me for game week 2. In game week 3, the rough plan is to downgrade Arias potentially to a 5 million or a 4.5 fodder and upgrade Marmoush or Wirtz to Bruno Fernandes. If both Marmoush and Wirtz looks really good, I will potentially just downgrade Saka to Bruno. Of course, depends on how Bruno does as well. But I'm not a big fan of the opening fixtures for Man United, but I think that Bruno Fernandes is a really good captain option in game week 3. So this will be my team. I have no plans, no transfer plans, no. It's 1 hour and 26 minutes left, but this is almost locked in for me at the moment. Yesterday, I really considered downgrading Mateta to Danny Welbeck to upgrade Van de Ven to Pedro Porro. But I'm starting to lean towards this team. Konsa is on my bench. Can't really see Aston Villa keeping a clean sheet against Newcastle, but of course we know that actually Alexander Isak, he will definitely not play for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon, he has been injured, but he's been declared fit to start in game week 1, but I'm not really sure if Anthony Gordon as the number 9 is the best for Newcastle at the moment. I think that he actually can deliver better from the left-hand side. Hayden, hello. You locked in now, you think? I haven't made any changes since last night, so I think that unless we get any team news, I think that this will be my team for the start of the season. As mentioned, I really considered selling Mateta and Van de Ven to bring in Pedro Porro and Welbeck, but I think that this team is better, and hoping that Mateta can score against Chelsea. I'm not really a big fan of Crystal Palace fixtures, but I'm not confident Solanke will start for Spurs. I think that potentially Richarlison will start and Solanke play 20 minutes like we saw against PSG. So this is 95% locked in. So unless we get any team news ahead of the deadline. 1 hour and 23 minutes left. FPL even odds with no Haaland, no Salah, same as my team. I really like your team FPL even odds. As mentioned, Dorgu, not really sure if he's nailed. Same goes for Mark Guihi, of course, but 4.5 can't really go that much wrong. Virat Kohli, check my team. Let's have a look. Let's upgrade this and it will probably show up. So I guess this is your team, the only other team. Then check my odds FPL. Let me know in the chat. So Verbruggen in goal, going really cheap with your goalkeepers of 4.5 and 4.0. This has usually been the strategy when it comes to selecting goalkeeper, especially for the top 10k managers, spending most of the budget up front and in midfield. So Verbruggen, Dubravka. Just send mine through when you get the time. Definitely will have the time. It's 1 hour, 20 minutes left. We'll take some look at some teams before starting to search for some team news. For Bruggen, Dubravka, I like it. Save some money. You have Frimpong, Milenkovic, Diouf. No Chelsea defense. Same as my team. Saka in midfield, Rodgers, he is declared fit, so he will start for Aston Villa. Really good option, priced at 7 million. I think that he will be involved in the goals. So, seeing you have Rodgers, I think it's okay going without Watkins. But Mo Salah, captain, safest captain option in this game week. He will be the most captain player, and I think his ownership will get close to 90%. Kudus in midfield. I talked about Kudus a couple of times. I initially, after the game launched, I didn't really like Kudus, but after the injuries, I think that he is nailed on. Frank talked about him in the press conference as well. He might play as the number 10, he might play up front. He will definitely start against Burnley, and I think this is a really good fixture for Spurs. Fulkrug only priced at 6 million. He can potentially be a gem. And you have Wood and Joao Pedro. So safe options. My only worry with Joao Pedro is that if he doesn't score in game week 1, he will definitely drop in price. And I can see his game time being limited to 60, 70 minutes. But of course, if he does well, he is potentially really good value, priced at 7.5. On your bench, a really strong bench. Is this a game week 1 bench boost team? Didn't really see in the chat if you mentioned anything about a bench boost, but 6.5 million midfielder Sar. You have a 6 million defender Gabriel, and budget options Dubravka and Estev. My personal opinion is that benching a 6 million defender, it's probably not the best idea. I would like to spend a bit more in my starting 11 and less money on the bench. But as a really strong team, can't really fault this team if it's a bench boost team, of course. But I think that Sar, Gabriel, I think that this team has maybe it will be some benching headaches in the coming game weeks. Who to start, Gabriel or Milenkovic? My initial thought is that actually you should potentially sell Gabriel, downgrade Gabriel to one of the 4.5 midfield options. I think that your bench at the moment is actually too strong if you're not planning on playing the bench boost as well. Having a 6.5 midfielder and a 6.0 defender on your bench, I think it's a bit of a waste, to be honest. So I would potentially downgrade Gabriel to a 4.5 defender and use the 1.5 saved in upgrading one of your players. Potentially, Kudus could become another midfielder, maybe a double up with Wirtz in midfield. Wood could become Watkins. So there are some opportunities if you downgrade Gabriel, but of course it's your team, and if you really like Gabriel, you should stick with him. But my initial thought is that your bench is actually a bit too strong at the moment. Let's take a look at Hayden's team. who to start? Arsenal have a good fixture for game week 2. Really good fixture, in my captain in game week 2 will most probably be Saka. Really good game for Arsenal, I agree, playing at home against Leeds. Marmoush will be a risk. I agree, Marmoush will potentially be a risk, and I think that most Man City players comes with a bit of a risk, but at the moment I'm selecting Marmoush because I think they will score a lot of goals. I don't really see Haaland being worth 14 million, so Marmoush, he is mostly into cover the Man City attack. I think that he will start most games, and he is on some set pieces, both free kicks and corners, and he is next in line for penalties as well. So this is the reasoning why I'm going for Marmoush. In this team, we have Vicario in goal. Not my favorite goalkeeping option, to be honest. Actually, earlier in the summer, there were some rumors about Kinski being first choice, so I think Vicario will start in game week 1, but at some point we might actually see Vicario lose his spot. So having a 5 million goalkeeper that's not even playing is a bit of a waste, and you will potentially have to waste a transfer on a goalkeeper. You have Sanchez as well, another 5 million option. I like him better, so I would potentially just keep Sanchez, put him in your starting 11, and downgrade Vicario to a 4.5 or even Dubravka at 4 million. Pedro Porro, I really like Pedro Porro, to be honest. He's not in my team, but yesterday I looked at some options to bring him into my team, but at the moment I'm leaning towards just sticking with Van de Ven. Double up on Nottingham Forest defense, Murillo and Milenkovic, and this team has Frimpong in as well. Thing is with Frimpong, I think that he is a really good FPL asset, but I think that there will be some rotation and that Connor Bradley will get minutes as well. Kudus in midfield, Wirtz captain, and Gakpo. I really like the double up. I mentioned this yesterday as well. I think this was the team, Wirtz captain and Gakpo. I just talked about Gakpo 5 minutes ago. I think he's actually a bit underpriced. He got his price when Luis Diaz was still at the club. He's more secure minutes, and he will definitely start in game week 1. So I like Gakpo up front, Chris Wood, Watkins, and João Pedro. And a really strong bench in this team as well. Yeah, the team is just to attack the first 3 game week, bench boost in game week 1, free hits in game week 2, and wildcard in game week 4. Yeah, I remember we discussed this yesterday as well. You will have a benching headache in game week 3, but you can survive with this team, definitely. Can be a really, really strong start to the season. So I think this team is really solid. The thing that I don't like about this team at the moment, if I have to just point my finger at something, it would be the goalkeepers. I think it's probably a bit much spent in that position, but I can't really see what you can do. You can downgrade Vicario to a 4.5, but seeing that you will wildcard in game week 4, I guess it's fine starting with 2 5 million goalkeepers. Cameron Conroy, Marmoush captain. That's big belief in the Egyptian prince. I have him in my team. I'm not really considering captaining Marmoush, but of course they have a good fixture against Wolves. This is the reason why Marmoush is in my team, but I haven't really considered captaining him. Going for Jared Bowen punt in game week 1 myself, so love your live. Thanks for rating teams. Thanks for sending in. No worries. Is Keller, goalkeeper of Brentford, fine? Definitely a solid option. He has been training this week as well. He lost the latest friendly for Brentford, so there is actually a small risk involved with going for Kelleher, but I think he definitely is the first choice goalkeeper for Brentford. So I think that he will start. He is in the predicted lineup for Brentford. And we got some positive news on the press conference as well. So can I send my team for you to rate? Definitely. If you're interested in a team rating or a team discussion more of, just head over to X and post a picture of your team under my latest post, and I'll go and get it up on the screen. So head over to X, same handle as on YouTube. It's FPLTFS. Charlie Lindstrom, thanks for joining in, Charlie. Bowen, Haaland, Kurupi, or Salah, Pedro, and a 4.5 midfielder. I actually think that your first option is better value, to be honest. Jared Bowen, Haaland. I think this, at least this is what I've gone for this season, trying to spread the funds and using most out of budget on strong, solid players. And if you pick both Jared Bowen and Erling Haaland, you have two really, really strong options, two captain options. So I think this probably is the better idea. If you have Salah, Joe Pedro, of course, some of the most selected players in the game, but I wouldn't really be confident captaining Joao Pedro. So by going for the first option, you give yourself two different captain options. Yeah, I could go with Verbruggen over Vicario, but if Spurs get a clean, muted, missed what you said. This muting problems continues. I had this yesterday as well. I had a Q&A last night and my microphone kept bugging, but let me know in the chat when the microphone is muted and I'll try to fix it as quickly as possible. Am I deaf? Bill Jack 15, thanks for joining in. You're not deaf. I think that it's nothing wrong with your ears. It's my microphone struggling. So I talked about my microphone problems with someone at X yesterday, and I was really hoping that I got it resolved. I had to go into properties and fix some power saving settings, stuff like that, but unfortunately it didn't help. At least my microphone just got muted, so hopefully it will not be as big of a problem as yesterday. FPL Lisa, hi, here listening. I'm at work. Hopefully you got your team locked in, FPL Lisa. And hopefully you'll have a good game week 1. Only 1 hour and 5 minutes until the deadline. My advice tonight would be to not wait until last minute with your transfers and the captain selection as well. So try to make decisions as early as possible. We've actually seen this summer that the FPL page has been bugging a bit. The server has been down as well, so if you have any decisions to make, my advice would be to figure it out as quick as possible. Bro, last season was my first and got 2,395 points and have 10% league. That's decent. I'm in that league as well. Can't really remember how many points I scored, to be honest, but I didn't do well last season, to be honest. My rank was 510k, something like that. Had a terrible start to the season. I started without Haaland last season as well, and it couldn't have gone any worse. So I will be fuming if Erling Haaland scores 10 goals in the first 5 fixtures this season as well, but I can't really see it happening, to be honest. Are you playing the challenge mode? I did a couple of those challenge mode games last season, but I lost interest, to be honest. We'll potentially do it a couple of times this season as well, but this year I haven't even checked what the first challenge in Game Week 1 is. But some of the challenges were quite amusing, but I don't think that I will play it on a regular basis. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that the prices for the Game Week winner was pretty decent. Tickets for games and stuff like that. The challenge this game week is that the new signings will get double points. Ah, okay. That's kind of a nice challenge, to be honest. Will be a lot of Joe Pedros in those challenge teams. It's, of course, Kudus as well. If you're interested in having your team rated or discussed, just head over to X and post a picture of your team. And I'll put it up on the screen. Red Tees. Let's have a look at this team as well. Let me know who you are in the chat if you have a different username on X compared to your name over at YouTube. This is Red Tees on X. Cells in goal, Gabriel, Pedro Porro, Keane in defense. Same goalkeeper as me, and you're covering Nottingham Forest defense. I like it. Gabriel, of course, really solid option. And Pedro Porro, one of my favorite defenders, to be honest, even though he's not in my current team. I think that Keane will start Brentford. He's injured, so he is in the predicted starting 11 for Everton, but I'm not really convinced by Everton defense, to be honest, but of course could be a really good option. I haven't really considered Keane, to be honest, after the news about Branthwaite's injury. I just decided to stay away from the Everton defense. Marmouche captain, ballsy, but I like it. Cole Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Gakpo. I've seen a lot of Gakpo. Yesterday as well, there were a lot of Gakpo teams. I haven't really checked his ownership. Let's have a quick look. Cody Gakpo, he is selected by... It's actually a big differential still, only selected by 7% of the managers, so if you have 7.5 million, I think Cody Gakpo is a really good option. Up front, Watkins, Pedro, and we have Gyökeres as well. On the bench, Reinders, Over and Senesi. So a strong team, looks ready for a bench boost as well. I think that Hover is a starter for Wolves. I've seen FPL Black Wolf on X. He suggested that Hover was not good enough to start for Wolves, but he's in the predicted lineup, so hopefully for your team he can keep his spots in the team. I really like this, to be honest. Gyökeres, I think it's a bit of a punt going for Gyökeres. They still have Havertz. He didn't really impress me in the first game for Arsenal, but he scored in his second appearance, and of course we know his stats from Portugal. Really, really solid. My pick from Arsenal at the moment is Saka, but he comes in at 10, so 1 million more expensive. Gyökeres could be a really explosive asset. Manu Panasa, hi. Do you think a triple up of Haaland, Salah and Cole Palmer will work? I actually saw a couple of teams yesterday with the premium. I think that it potentially takes up a bit too much of the budget, to be honest. So I'm not saying that it won't work, but the reason why I don't like spending that much on 3 players is that you can only captain one of them at once, so you will have really expensive players in your team that you won't be able to captain. But of course, there is a price gap between Haaland, Salah and down to Cole Palmer. Can definitely work. Play around with a draft, take a picture and post it under my latest post and we'll get it up on the screen. Hey bro, how are we? Just fine. I think that my microphone is a bit better this evening as well compared to yesterday. I've only been muted once, so hopefully this stream and the sound quality will be a bit better. Orange Apple, thoughts on Bruno to Marmouche, Neko to Porro. I already have Murillo. Considering the Man United fixtures, I actually like those moves, to be honest. Seeing you already have Murillo in your team, upgrading Nico Williams to Pedro Porro could be a really good option. So it's a yes for me. In the poll, let's have a quick look. Salah, he is the favorite, 47%, Haaland 18%, Watkins 6%, and someone else 29%. I've seen someone commenting Marmouche. Not seen any Jared Bowen captains in the comments just yet. It can't be just me going for Jared Bowen, right? The Game Week 1 challenge is instant impact, double points for new signings, one player per club. So it's one player per... I actually think that those challenges are quite fun. But last season I started by participating in that competition, but didn't really find the time, didn't really get that engaged. But of course it's always fun to try to find the best players and play around with different drafts. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that there's no overall rank in that game mode, so it's only one game week that counts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I should spend some more time on the FPL challenge this season. Joe Pedro will definitely be really popular in the FPL challenge. Gyökeres probably as well. Kyrgios, Wirtz. So there are a lot of good options. This transfer window have actually been a good one. This was Red Tees over at X. So if you're interested, go post your team on my latest post and I'll get it up on the screen. FPL Lisa, I play because every week is different and I could win any week. Yeah, that's what I thought. You play every game week in isolation, and I think that last season there were some really good prizes at the FPL challenge as well. I think there were Premier League tickets for optional games, stuff like that. That's pretty good. So this is my team. No plans on doing any transfers. If you're not satisfied with your team, as mentioned, my advice would be to go and make those changes as quickly as possible. We've seen in other seasons, just before game week 1, there are a lot of traffic on the FPL server, so it might actually crash. We've seen this a couple of weeks ago as well, when the game actually went down for an extended period of time. So if you have decisions to make, try to make a decision as early as possible. Would you do Saka to Marmoush and then Pedro to Gyökeres? I actually like Saka and Pedro better than Marmoush and Gyökeres. Gyökeres, new signing, can potentially be eased in, and they still have Havertz, and Marmoush is, of course, a bit of a minutes risk himself. And we know that Pep likes to rotate his players. So Saka and Pedro, I would just keep them, to be honest. The thing is that Joe Pedro is kind of a minutes risk as well. I think he will start in the predicted Chelsea lineup, but I think he will be limited to like 70 minutes. I can't really see Joe Pedro being a 90 minutes man at the moment. One of the reasons for this is, of course, that they have also brought in the Lap from Ipswich, so he will get minutes as well. No Arsenal defense. That's correct. No Arsenal defense for me at the moment. Doubling up on Liverpool with Van Dijk and Wirtz. could potentially go for Gabriel instead of Van Dijk, but one of the reasons why I will go for Van Dijk instead of Gabriel is actually the fact that I don't have Mo Salah. So I would rather have Wirtz and Van Dijk. Of course, Arsenal have a really good fixture against Leeds next game week, but I will captain Saka in this game, so hopefully that can be enough. Arsenal. The thing is, with the 6 point of defender spot in FPL at the moment, I think it's a bit up in the air, but I think it's a good idea having at least one 6 million defender. At some point, one of the 6 million defenders could be essential. If we get an injury to Connor Bradley, then I think that Frimpong will be close to essential. And if we get an injury to Robertson, I think that Kirkis becomes a really, really good option. But at the moment, there are so many options, and the best teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, they have a double up on most of their positions, so there will potentially be some rotation as well. So having a 6 million defender is a good idea, but no one is really standing out for me, to be honest. So I'm just going for a safe option in Van Dijk. Matthias, thanks for joining in. Ready for the new season. It's 47 minutes left until the deadline. We're getting really, really close. I have no plans. So this will probably be my team. I will head over to X and check for some early team news, but if we don't get any big news, then this will be my team. I'm really, really... That's wrong. I'm really, really excited about my Bowen captaincy. Can be a really good start to the season. But of course, if Mo Salah scores a couple against Bournemouth, then I will have to play catch up once again. But hopefully this season will be different compared to last year. Can't be much worse compared to the 24-25 season. I was ranked like 5 million in game week 6. Would you pick Kudus, Dewsbury Hall or Reinders Tielemans? Kudus and Dewsbury Hall or Reinders Tielemans? I really like both Kudus and Tielemans. Both strong options. I think that Dewsbury Hall potentially is the better pick compared to Reinders, but of course Reinders playing for the better team. Dewsbury Hall on some set pieces. I think it's really close between them. Tielemans potentially on penalties for Aston Villa. In an 11.5 budget for those two. I think both Kudus and Tielemans are really strong options. Dewsbury Hall, Reinders, more punts, do you have the opportunity to downgrade and save 1 million in any other places in your team, go for both Kudus and Tillemans, this can potentially be two really good FPL options for the start of the season. But if I had to choose between one of them, I would potentially go with the Fixtures and pick Kudus and Dewsbury Hall. Especially if you have Watkins in your team, or potentially Rodgers. Orange Apple, I don't know what to do. 45 minutes left. It's time to make those decisions. Saka and Nico Williams, or Marmoush and Frimpong. I would definitely go Saka and Nico Williams. I think both Marmoush and Frimpong are exciting picks, but at the start of the season, I would go for those players with highest expected minutes, and both Marmoush and Frimpong, they could potentially see rotation. We know Man City players, they're never really safe, and Frimpong as well. He has Connor Bradley for competition for that right back spot at Liverpool, so Saka, Nico Williams would be my preferred options. So would you remove Marmoush from your own team before you removed Saka? There is potentially, yes. At the moment, Saka is probably a bit more locked in compared to Marmoush. I think both are good options, and it, of course, kind of depends on the price as well, and how and which players you have from those teams. The reason why I'm having Saka in my team is that I've seen a lot of FPL managers going without Arsenal, but I think that the game in game week 2 against Leeds is a really good opportunity to take advantage of Saka captaincy. So Saka is in, and he will be my captain next game week. Marmoush, he's mostly in to cover. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. Something wrong with the microphone. Not really sure what it is. Was like this yesterday as well. All of a sudden I just get muted and I need to unplug and insert a USB cable and the microphone is back on. Hopefully the microphone is working at the moment. I was just reading the comments. Hello, Pick One, Beto, Pirot, Diouf, Bissaka, Celso, Verbruggen, Aina, Nico Williams, Reed, Dewsbury Hall or Ramsey. Let's have a look. Beto or Pirot? I would pick Beto. He is proven in the Premier League and have some experience. I think that Leeds will struggle at the start of the season, to be honest. So Beto would be my pick of the 5.5 forwards. Diouf, I like him better than Wan-Bissaka at the moment. Lower ownership, looked really good in preseason. The thing is with the West Ham defense, they are really popular at the moment. Wan-Bissaka, one of the most selected defenders. If they concede in the first game and if they fail to keep a clean sheet in the first couple of game weeks, I think that we will see a price drop and this will happen much quicker for Wan-Bissaka. Sells or Verbruggen, definitely sells, even though he's 0.5 more expensive. I think that Nottingham Forest defense is a good way to spend our money. Aina or Nico Williams, definitely Nico Williams. I actually think that Aina, even though he's more selected, I think he's a bit overrated. Of course, he did well last season, one of the highest point scorers for defenders, but I think that he was a bit lucky with a couple of those assists he got, and of course the goal he scored. He will not score many goals like that, so Nico Williams would be my choice. He's also better when it comes to defensive contribution points, and Dewsbury Hall would be my pick out of those midfielders, to be honest. On set pieces, at least he has been taking some corners for Everton in the last couple of friendlies, so is Beto not a rotation risk with Barry? I think he potentially has more competition, definitely, but I think he's still first choice and he is in the predicted lineup for Everton. So he's kind of in the same category as with João Pedro. I think João Pedro is first choice, but I can see the lap eating into his minutes. And of course, playing for Everton, he is 5.5 for a reason. I think this is a good price. It's like you get what you pay for. I would potentially just stay away and try to make some downgrades in other areas to get potentially a 7.5 forward, something like that. Van Dijk and Nico Williams or Pedro Porro and Murillo. I really like Pedro Porro. Murillo is a really good pick as well, so I would potentially go Porro and Murillo. I have actually looked at some options to bring in Pedro Porro myself, but I think I will just stick with Van de Ven. I think it's really good value, 4.5. He will start most games for Spurs and he's easier to bench as well. If I had Pedro Porro in my team priced at 5.5, I would like to start him in every game, so actually think that Porro will do well in game week 1 against Burnley. I think he will get an assist, potentially bonus points as well, and if they keep a clean sheet, it may be double-digit figures for Pedro Porro in game week 1. A couple of new teams entering my mini league. If you're interested, the link is in the thanks for letting me know. I was just talking about my 4.5 defenders and rotation. One of the reasons why I'm just sticking with Van de Ven instead of going Pedro Porro is that I like the rotation between Diouf, Van de Ven, and Konsa. So, like in game week 1, when Aston Villa have kind of a tough fixture against Newcastle, I can just play Van de Ven and Diouf. When Spurs have a tough fixure, West Ham and Aston Villa have good fixtures. I can't really remember, is it like game week 4, game week 5, when West Ham have a tough fixture, Spurs and Aston Villa have good fixtures. So good rotation between those three. Muted. Hopefully it's back on. Why it got muted? Really good question. It started bugging last night. I had a stream last night as well, and all of a sudden my microphone just stopped working. It's really strange because I'm actually not even touching my microphone nor the wire, the USB cable. I got a message last night after the stream on X. I got a really good tip that I went into the properties of the USB and I like disabled some power save settings. Was really hoping that this would work, but it's a bit better this evening compared to yesterday, but it's still getting muted. Wirtz and Rodgers or Bruno and Rutter, I would just go for Wirtz and Rodgers. Rodgers, if you asked this question yesterday, I would potentially lean towards Bruno, but we know at this point that Rodgers will start. Wirtz is a really good option as well. Bruno Fernandes, decent option, but at the moment I think he potentially can wait. Really tough fixtures for Man United, so I would prefer having Wirtz and Rodgers for the opening game weeks. Grealish recently joined Everton on loan. I think it's 6.5, same as NGI. I actually prefer NGI if you're going for a 6.5 midfielder. My preferred option would be NGI on penalties for Everton. Of course, Grealish can become a good option at some point. We know that he is a really good player, but I don't really see Grealish as a good FPL option at the moment. Gabriel or Milenkovic to start. Actually, if Milenkovic is your only Nottingham Forest defender, I would potentially start him over Gabriel. I think that was your original team, right? You had Milenkovic in the starting 11 and Gabriel on your bench. I think this is the right decision. If you don't have any Nottingham Forest defenders, a clean sheet at home against Brentford can really hurt your rank. Brentford, we know that they will not start with Visa as well, so their attack is a bit weaker. They lost Mbumo as well. So Milenkovic in the starting 11 for me. I don't really like, of course, benching Gabriel, but as you said, they have a really good fixture in game week 2, so Gabriel, he can stay on the bench in game week 1 and be ready for his clean sheet and goal in game week 2. Clean sheet, goal, and defensive contribution points, and that's a 17-pointer from Gabriel. 20 minutes left. 20 minutes until the game week 1 FPL deadline. 20 minutes. If you're interested, post a picture of your team on my latest post over on X. I'll get it up on the screen. Let's have a quick look. No new teams. My best advice, as mentioned, would be to lock in your team as early as possible. It's only 20 minutes left. I have a feeling that there might be some delay on the FPL page this evening, right before the deadline. We've seen this earlier as well in other seasons, especially ahead of game week 1. And we actually seen it a couple of weeks ago that the servers actually went down. So make sure to lock in your team and make sure you have the right captain. FPL Bluebird, new record of team registered for game week 1. 9 million FPL managers. Don't seem to be any early team news so far. Simply FPL, same advice as I've mentioned a couple of times already. Lock in your team early. The FPL website this year is shocking. It could easily crash right before the deadline. Totally agree with this. I will actually repost that one. So no big news over at X. Let me know in the chat if you see any rumors and I'll try to check it out. Only 16 minutes left until the deadline. So Cole Palmer, he is the most selected player. Salah is second. Joe Pedro, 54% ownership for Joe Pedro. Only Cole Palmer is in my team at the moment, and I'm saying at the moment, and I'm not really sure why, because this will be my team. Top 3 anytime goal scorers: Salah 54, Haaland 50, and Ekitike 47. None of them are in my team, so the top 3 bookies prediction for anytime goal scorer, I don't have any of them in my team at the moment. Spurs, they are the bookies favorite for anytime. Not anytime, but they are the bookies favorite for clean sheets. Really good game for Spurs at home against Burnley. I've seen a couple of teams with double Spurs defense, and I really like the idea of Van de Ven and Porro. Man City is second, 43% chance of a clean sheet, while Chelsea 42. The three players that have lost most ownership in the last couple of weeks. Let's have a quick look. Joe Pedro, Alexander Isak, obviously, and Ait Nouri as well. Ait Nouri really popular right after the game launched. I haven't really checked his ownership in the last couple of days. Let's have a quick look. Transfers. Ait Nouri selected by 20% of the managers. I think he actually was above 30% selected at some point. Twelve minutes left. Let's have a new early team news. 77 new posts. 14 minutes to go. A lot of FPL managers locking in their teams. I think it's probably the safest thing to do. Lock your teams in. Don't wait until last minute. There can potentially be chaos before the deadline. So still no early team news, only 10 minutes left. what do you say? This is my team, the starting 11. Sanchez in goal, Pedro, Porro, Milenkovic, Van Dijk in defense, Salah, Palmer, Witz, Reinders and Anderson in midfield, and up front Matets. Bench Dubravka, Diouf and Mark Guehi. Really strong team. I'm not a big fan of the 5.5 midfielders, to be honest, but this can... So, strong, solid team with a lot of good options, but my personal opinion is that Anderson is too heavily relying on attacking returns. Pedro or Mateta. At the moment, I would actually go Mateta, 90 minutes man and on penalties. Joe Pedro is a really good option as well, and he will most probably start for Chelsea, but I can see Joe Pedro being limited to 60-70 minutes. I think the Lap will get some minutes as well. We know that Cole Palmer is the first choice penalty taker for Chelsea. So Mateta, nailed on, 90 minutes man on penalties. Of course, Joe Pedro. I think Chelsea, they are the better team, but personally, I would go Mateta. I have the opportunity to sell Mateta and bring in Joao Pedro, but I will start with Mateta. In the poll, Salah, he is the captain favorite, 48%, Haaland 21%, Watkins 7%. It will be really interesting to see Mo Salah's effective ownership in game week 1. So make sure to download the latest upgrade on the FPL app as well. Only 8 minutes left. We'll take a picture of my team. That's it. Seven minutes left. Let's take a look over at X. Nothing new from FPL News, one of the most reliable sources last season when it comes to early team news. So a lot of FPL teams, FPL managers at X locking in their teams. You can see some teams without Mo Salah, but then again, the next team will most probably have Mo Salah as their captain. I think that most teams that has Mo Salah in them will probably captain him, selected by 35%. This will definitely be doubled when we consider effective ownership. So at least 70% effective ownership for Salah. When we consider triple captains as well, we'll probably get close to 80 or 90%. So of course the rank will take a hit if Mo Salah gets a brace against Bournemouth. Of course, there is a slight risk involved going without Mo Salah, but I'm willing to take the risk. I think that my team looks really good. And hopefully my players can match or, of course, outscore Mo Salah. Diouf and Richards or Van de Ven and Agbadou. So this mostly comes down to fixtures, right? All of them are 4.5 options. I think I would go for Diouf. Decent fixtures for West Ham. Diouf. My two favorite options is Diouf and Van de Ven. Obviously because they are in my team, but I think that Diouf and Van de Ven is an option for you as well, considering they're all priced at 4.5. And if you have Pedro Porro and don't want to double up on the Spurs defense, Diouf and Richards would be my preferred options, especially if you can keep Richards on the bench for game week 1. I don't necessarily see Crystal Palace keeping a clean sheet against Chelsea in game week 1, but they have some good fixtures coming up. If you select a Crystal Palace defender like Munoz, Guehi, Richards, I think this should be in some kind of a rotation. Let's have a quick last look. 17 new posts. Mark Duncan, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike. So no surprise when we consider the Liverpool front four. Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left, Wirtz in the number 10 position, and Ekitike up front. This is what we'll probably see from Liverpool in a couple of minutes. Wow, 78 new posts. A lot of FPL teams locking in. Can't really find any early concrete team news. Let's have a really quick look. Thank you. No worries. We're 90 seconds away from game week 1, so go lock in your team. And hopefully you will be able to make transfers. I haven't really seen any posts on X about the servers being down, so this is a good thing. Let's have a quick check on the app. Still functioning. You can access the leagues and stuff like that. Just looks like the FPL app is working just fine at the moment. It's only 40 seconds left. Make sure to lock in your team. Make sure you have the right captain. Refresh your browser. only seconds left. I think it's too late now to make any transfers. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Deadline. So thanks for joining in. I'll quickly run through my team. I have Cells in goal to cover the Nottingham Forest defense. Virgil van Dijk, really solid option. And I have Diouf and Van de Ven as well in. Hopefully I'm not muted anymore. At least this only happened 3 times during this stream. I had a stream yesterday as well. It was like 15 times my microphone got muted. That stream was a bit longer though, so maybe that's the reason. I was just quickly running through my team. Cell single, Van Dijk really strong options nailed on for Liverpool, both attacking threat and contribution points, defensive contribution points. Diouf and Van de Ven, solid options in my opinion. I have Saka. I don't necessarily see the game in game week 1 for an easy Arsenal win. I think Man United will be stronger this season. Amorim with one more summer and preseason with the team. Some good signings for Man United as well, but hopefully Saka can do well. I mostly have him in, to be honest, because of the fixture in game week 2. So Saka will be my captain at home against Leeds next game week. Marmoush is mostly in because I just wanted to cover the Man City attack. They will score a lot of goals. And I think Holland is a bit expensive at 14 million. So Marmoush is the next best pick from Man City, in my opinion. Cole Palmer is in. I think that he is one of the best midfielders. Of course, a bit expensive, 10.5, but almost set pieces for Chelsea. So really strong option. I think it's really hard to pick attacking assets from Chelsea. They have so many options. So Cole Palmer is a luck for me. He's actually been in my team since the game launched. Wirtz, a really good option. I have no Salah, so I think I need to cover the Liverpool attack. Jared Bowen is my captain for game week 1. Good fixture against Sunderland. So hopefully he can do well in game week 1. Watkins, Mateta. Mateta is the latest addition to my team. I think it was kind of hard picking between the 7.5 million forwards. I was tempted by Solanke, but Richarlison is rumored to start for Spurs, so I went for Mateta. I have Estev Dubravka on my bench. They are ready for a game week 2 bench boost. And this includes Konsa and Arias as well. Feels kind of safe benching Arias in game week 1 for Wolves' tough fixture against Man City. So thanks for joining in. Best of luck for game week 1. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. I have weekly Q&As. I do deadline streams like this when I find the time as well. At least every other game week I have a deadline stream, but I have weekly Q&As the night before the deadline. Had a really good stream yesterday, 4 hours, a lot of viewers. Was close to 1,000 people joining in on the stream yesterday. A bit more competition from other FPL YouTubers on deadline day, of course. But really enjoyed this one as well. Hopefully you did as well. As mentioned, best of luck for game week 1. And hopefully I'll see you next time.